Lord's gonna go with this. I'm gonna say I'm thankful for what I've heard here so far since we've been here this evening. Thankful for the service I was in this morning. I went down to Young Bend this morning and Brother Samuel over there preached, and I enjoyed every bit of it. And before we left, Brother Andy requested prayer for me. He knew I was coming down here this evening, and he asked Brother Samuel, he said, where are you going this evening? He said, I reckon I'm going to go hear him. And I got Sister Emily a little tickled. I said, well, you wouldn't be coming to hear much. But, brother, it ain't nothing of what I do anyway. It's of the Lord. I can't do nothing on my own. And like the brother preached this morning, if it was up to me, I wouldn't have heeded to the call to preach to start with. I was like the brother said this morning, I'd just soon be sitting on the back pew with my mouth shut, as being up here. But, you know, the Lord will get you where you're willing to do whatever He asks you to do. And that's what He done with me. And, brother, you was talking about the truth and I appreciate growing up under brothers that preach the truth.
Amen.
And preach being born again. And, you know, didn't preach repeating prayers or send me all your money or this, that, and the other. Over here in Matthew chapter 7, verse 15, you have, beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are as ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. Brother, as the Lord's people, we ought to be doing the best we can to be living how the Lord would have us to do and do what He'd have us to do, because we got lost people out here that's looking to us, and they see us, and they see one of us out here, oh, well, so-and-so goes to church. I seen him walking out of the beer store the other day with a 12-pack in his hand. Well, I ain't going down there to church with him. They a bunch of hypocrites or something. And brother, I've been at that point in my life, and I'm ashamed of it, because I grew up in church, and I knew better. But there was a point in my life back when I drank and stuff that I was looking for an excuse anyway. So if I run into somebody else that I'd seen at church before, and they was doing it, oh, well, it's fine and dandy, I'm going to go do that myself.
Right.
I can't say nothing about it because they're doing it themselves.
That's right.
But the way that looks to the lost people, you know, that gives them just another excuse not to come to church.
Amen.
And wind up, you know, we ought to do the best we can each and every day. And be alive to them. That's like, I'm going to use you, Brother Eric, for an example. I love you to death. You know that. I love all y'all brothers to death. And that's like, I think the world of you, but if I was to come over to your house, say you was having a grill out, which I know I wouldn't ever have to worry about that happening. If I was to come over to your house and we was having a grill out and you pulled a beer out of the cooler, brother, I love you to death, but I'd get in the truck and I'd leave. Because I ain't got no use for it no more. I've been there, I've done that about my whole life. I ain't got a lick of use for it no more. And I go ahead and tell you, brother, it would hurt me. Because I think I wouldn't be judging you for it. It's not my place. But I think very highly of it, and it would hurt me. And that's why I'm glad that I grew up around brothers that preach sound doctrine. And then I'm thankful that the Lord's still calling, like Brother Samuel here. Brother Samuel ain't been preaching but about a year longer than me. I think the world of that boy right there. Maybe been many times me and him sit around talking about the Bible. This evening we went and eat Mexican after church and talked for a little while. We like to cut up. We give each other a hard time. He kind of gets me into a mess every now and then. We went and rolled Brother Andy this year and got caught doing that and everything else. But we have a good time, having good, clean fun. And I'll tell you what, but the more you're around the Lord's people, the easier it is for you to do the Lord's will. Because, you know, the people you run with is going to be the ones that you're going to act like. That's like, brother, I ain't touched a drop in 2 years, but I guarantee you, if I went and started hanging out at the bar every night for the next 2 months, it wouldn't be long. You know, you've heard me preach up in Newtown one night about the devil and his wedge. It's just like cutting a tree down. You got to keep the whole armor on, because if he ever gets that wedge in just a little bitty crack right there, he'll just keep a hammering and a hammering until the crack gets bigger and bigger. If he can ever get you to take a sip, I know I'm speaking for myself, brother. If he was to ever get me to take another sip, other than communion wine or something like that, it wouldn't be long. Well, it won't hurt just have just a swaller. Well, I'd take me a swaller, and then it wouldn't be long. Well, you know what? I ain't going to get drunk off a whole beer. I'll just drink me a whole beer. I've been there. I've done it before. That's how I got started in the first place. And then one day I was out there, and I said, you know what? I don't think I'd get drunk off of 2 beers. I think I'll just go ahead and have me another. Drank 2 beers. I felt a little good after that right there. I said, you know what? I like that. The next Monday, I went and bought me a 12-pack. And I drank about 3 of them so darn fast that my head started spinning on me. I said, you know, I like that feeling pretty good. That turned into me being a drunk for a year. But took everything that I cared about, and the Lord let me know that if I didn't straighten up, I wasn't going to live to see 20. And I truly believe that if I hadn't, that I'd be in my grave right now, and I wouldn't be standing right here. He had a purpose for me, and if I wasn't going to do it, then He was going to take me out of here. Because if you're born again, you belong to Him, and if you ain't going to do what He wants you to do, then you're of no use to Him, and you're out here, and your fruits are showing for the devil, and it's not doing the Lord no good, and He'd be better off taking you out of here instead of having you as a bad example for Him.
Amen.
And watch the people that you run with. I know I got on that just a little bit ago. Watch the people that your kids run with. I ain't got no kids of my own. And I know you can't watch every single person that your kids run with, but you know, don't be sending them off to church when somebody's going down here to the church, oh, send me $1,000 and you're going to heaven. It ain't no good.
Right.
And you don't need your kids listening to the junk. And you don't need to be listening to the junk yourself. Get it in your head. The more you're around it, the more that carries on right there. And like I said, the more you're around things, you think, oh, well, I ain't going to do this. Or I can go hang out with them. They're grilling out. They're going to have a beer with their burger. But, you know, I won't have one. You keep doing it long enough and you will. Because I've been there. I've tried it. I figured it out the hard way. I'm stubborn. It took me a little while to figure it out. But, you know, the Lord gets me to the point where I'm humble. And I say, you know what, Lord? I was wrong. I've been wrong the whole time. I'm sorry. I'll do whatever you want me to do. When He gets you to that point right there, which we ought to stay there all the time, but when He gets you to that point right there, that's when the Lord can use you. That's when He can do something with you because you're willing to do it. If I'm sitting on that pew right there and the Lord comes to me and says, hey, you need to testify or something other. Most time, brother, I'm ashamed of it, but I'll sit right there and I'll say, no, I don't want to today. I think I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. And I'll sit there and He'll keep working on me. And sometimes He'll get to working on me so much that I have to say something. And other times I just sit there and keep my mouth shut. And I'm the one that takes the whipping for it. And I might take a whipping for it for the rest of the day, and I might take it all week long. And the older I get, the more I learn just to go ahead and do it. I don't do it for the blessing of it. I do it to avoid the whipping. You know, that's like when I was a kid, I didn't do things that I was told to do just to get bragged on. I done it so that I wouldn't get whipped.
That's right.
Last time Papa whooped me, I was 6 years old. He strapped my legs with a peach tree limb because we was working at the barn, and he told me, I said, I'm going over to Shannon's. He said, no, you ain't. I said, yes, I am. I got on my tricycle, and he said, no, you ain't. So I waited till he wasn't looking. I got on my tricycle, and I took off to Shannon's. Went over the old pond bank. That's why he didn't want me going over. He didn't want me over by the pond over there. I went over. He said, next thing you know, I heard that four-wheeler coming across that field, and I said, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I wasn't, like I said, a little bitty thing. He come over and he got me and he cut a peach tree limb on the way home. He ain't had to whoop me since. And I'll tell you what, the Lord will do the same exact thing. You get out of line and you ain't doing what the Lord's telling you to do, He'll whoop you. And if you ask to keep on, He'll get you to the point where He'll whoop you bad enough that you'll remember it. Because He got me to that point. He got me to the point where I pulled over on the side of the road and got in the ditch crying my heart out, praying, Lord, whatever you want me to do, just take it away from me. I don't want it no more. He can get you there. He can get you to the point that you don't care if the sun's coming up in the morning, because He got me there when I was running from the call to preach. And like I said before, if you ain't going to serve a purpose for Him, He'll just take you out of here, because you'd be better off not even being here. So, and I didn't know that was where this was going to go. This is not nowhere near where I thought this was going to go this evening. But, you know, however the Lord gives it to me, that's how I preach it. And, brother, that's about all I've got.